Hey folks, so today what we're going to do is we are going to play around with trace monotypes. We're going to go with a really low-tech way of doing it, and hopefully you have some of these materials, if not all of them, around the house. So we're going to start off by getting our supplies, and we're going to need some crayons. It doesn't matter what brand. I stole my son's. He had some Crayola. You know, he has the big box, which is fun. Lots of different colors there. Just some regular old copy paper that you use in your printer, and some index cards. For the index cards, they're nice because they're all a standard size. When we put color on them, you're not going to have to worry about alignment so much if everything is the same size. You can also use Bristol board. You have some of that in your pack. I just recommend cutting them all down to the same size. The other advantage of working like this right now is that it's small and it's manageable, and you can get the sense of what you want to do in case you want to do something bigger. So, okay, so that's kind of what we need to start off with. So my first thing I'm going to do is a test. I'm going to test out my crayons and see what actually traces well. Trace monotypes are very much low-tech printmaking. It's almost kind of like a Xerox machine in a way. We're just using crayons as our pigment, and we're going to use a ballpoint pen as a way of transferring that pigment to a piece of paper. So I'm just going to fold my paper in half here. And I'm going to grab a couple of different colors that I'm interested in. I got some red here. Let's grab a purple. And I'm making sure it's pretty opaque. I mean, I want it to be pretty full, lots of heavy color in the areas that you want to work. Otherwise, it doesn't transfer as well. So I'm pressing pretty hard. I admit I have broken a couple of crayons so far, but it tends to transfer better if you have a heavy application of the crayon. And some colors work better than others. I'm very doubtful of this gray. It looks really light, but we'll see. Generally, it seems that colors that are a little darker tend to work a little bit better, but it doesn't matter really, because you might have some areas in your drawing that you want to be a lot more subtle, a lot lighter. Did I do this one yet? No, I did not. Okay. I think the last color I use here is black. I know black always transfers very well with this kind of process. All right, so I get those little boogers off there, and I'm going to fold my paper back over, and if you hold it up to the light, of course you can't see, but I can see it. I know where the crayon is, so I'm going to just do a little test with my ballpoint pen. It will not work with a felt pen. It would work a little bit with a hard lead pencil. That would probably be fine. But generally, it seems to work the best with a ballpoint pen. So, do a little test here. And then you go ahead and flip it over, and you can see what transfers pretty well. Black, definitely really good. These guys pretty good. I could see the yellow pretty well, which I'm happy about. This is a little bit more subtle, and then this gray is definitely a little bit more subtle. So anyway, it gives me kind of a good jumping off point. I think I'm going to start with this pretty blue right here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a index card, take an index card and fill it up with color. Just need one, and I'm just gonna really go ahead and push really hard so that the whole card is covered with crayon. Okay, so I got this full color, nice and opaque, ready to go. I went ahead and did a couple other ones. Got magenta here. This one I thought would be interesting, kind of do a little bit of a rainbow roll. Got some yellow, red. Yeah, so split a couple colors there. And we're going to see what happens with that. So the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to get some of our copy paper and we're going to start by making a template so that we know where to put our index card and where we want to keep our paper so everything is nice and aligned. This makes your image and the paper match up very nicely. So you can eyeball it. I like to find the middle on my paper. And then I know my index card is 3 inches by 5 inches. So So 1.5 on each side. And then let's do 5. So I know I'm going to need 2.5 inches here. And then 2.5 inches there. And I'm able to place my index card where my little tick marks are. And that's going to keep my paper nice and centered. And I'm going to outline that index card. So this way I always know where to put my crayon index card. Okay, so we have our registration template and I'm going to use some tape to secure down our piece of crayon indexed paper. This way, it's always going to stay in the same place. You're able to switch them out fairly easily. And then you don't have to worry about your alignment. So for the paper part of it, or the drawing part of it, I'm going to line up the paper. Again, this is just 8.5 by 11 standard letter size paper. And I've got a little drawing that I did on top there. But I have 2 pieces of paper. So one has the drawing and one is blank. Now the reason I do that is with trace monotypes, if you do a drawing and you don't have another piece of paper in between your registration matrix and your drawing, it's going to transfer onto the back of it. I personally like to have my drawing and my print on 2 separate pieces of paper. So for what I like to do, I'm going to have 2 pieces of paper, one with my drawing, one blank. And I'm going to tape them lightly on the side. Okay, so using painter's tape, I'm going to tape my pieces of paper together. You don't want to go crazy with the tape because you do want it to release easily without tearing the paper. I'm going to line those up. And then I'm going to line this up with my registration matrix. Same thing, use 2 or 3 pieces of tape. Again, be gentle with the taping. You don't want to rip the paper, but you do not want it to move either. So once you have that, you're going to line all of this together. So in total, you have 3 pieces of paper all lined up. And this way, we can start doing our transferring. So This is where you want to use your ballpoint pen, and you can just start playing. I chose to do a drawing beforehand. I'm going to use some pressure with my pen, and I'm just going to start with the outline. I'm going to try to be pretty quick about doing this. All right, so now when I switch my paper over, I carefully peel it off. You can see it's starting to transfer on there. Now notice that my orientation of my skull is pointing that way, but with a lot of things with printmaking, you're gonna get a reverse image on that. So it's gonna be, the orientation is gonna be opposite of your drawing. So just kind of be aware of that. But yeah, that turned out, that blue looks really nice. Starting to transfer pretty cool. I'm gonna think about any other place I might want blue, and I'm gonna go ahead and add some of that. Maybe some of these. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to check it again. All right. All right, so now I want a different color. I want to focus on giving the skull a little bit of color in there. So I'm gonna try a yellow. I want it to be subtle. And I want to line up my index card. Go ahead and let that all fall again. And then I'm going to start going in and start coloring again. This is going to be the base color for the skull. I'm going to also try to use a bone folder, which is something that we use a lot in book arts. You can also try a spoon, but I'm going to see what this does as far as transferring that crayon yellow.